Going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into this. This is our free online workshop training, going to get you in and out, talking about a buzz topic. You cannot scroll on your newsfeed. You do not know somebody that is either using a GLP-1, they're curious about it. There's many different people that have a lot of good things to say about it, a lot of bad things to say about it. Our job here is to not give you or persuade you one way or another. It's to have a natural conversation about it. Drew and I are going to go back and forth on some talking points about this, and hopefully give you a really good understanding about how these work. Can you do them? The title of this: Can you mimic these great experiences and symptoms that some people are having naturally? Because for someone out there watching, you could be wanting to completely avoid them. You're just maybe unsure. I know that, like, my personal preference across the board, if there's a way to go about something and stay as natural as possible, I think it's pretty positive to say that, like, that's probably a way that most people would want to go, but maybe not. So our job is not to tell you whether this is for you. It's just providing the education, the resources, and maybe have a follow-up conversation about that as well. Like I said, they're all around. We have a lot of people watching this that just feel desperate. You're in specific points in your lives where, like, what you used to do is not working. Maybe you're putting in a ton of work and you're just not seeing the results. So it becomes super attractive for someone to see this or see results and be like, this seems like an easy route for me to go, and it seems like it'll work. Okay, so I want to explain why they work. We're gonna explain why they work, how they actually help people lose weight, and how some of those same mechanisms can be recreated. Okay, your modern food environment today is set up against you completely. You walk into a gas station, the convenience of things. We are set up to be fat.
There is literally food everywhere.
Yeah,
every convenience store.
Yeah.
You go to Home Depot, lumber store, you can get food. If there's a checkout anywhere, there's food to be had somewhere.
Yeah. We're also conditioned to constantly think about food on a everyday, hourly basis. When's my next snack? When's my next meal? Like, all of these combined things, and then we haven't even talked about how food is just completely way more calorie dense. It tastes damn good. Engineers specifically,
Always.
They put these things together, have the perfect ratios. It's made to, you're set up for failure. So that's the shitty part. Not to mention hunger, and we tie in hormones and all of these other things. We're going to get into. So I encourage you to watch this all the way through. At the end, we want to provide a free, personalized roadmap for weight loss, fat loss for you. It'll take about 5 to 10 minutes after this. I'll leave a link for you, all the instructions there to get you some super valuable information that a doctor won't tell you or some other person won't tell you for free. That way at least provides some sort of help for you. So look for that at the end and some instructions there. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty stuff. Why do GLP-1s work? It's sort of frustrating in a way because sometimes we live in a day and age where people don't care how it works. They just know it does work. So they jump without knowing anything about it.
Pay to play. Don't read the warning label. If it does the transformation or gives the results, I'm in.
Exactly. It's
so many, everything.
We struggle in our messaging. It's like coming up with like valuable information to put out there. Like Drew and I will talk like, do people really care, or do they just care about the end result? And the fact of the matter is, a lot of us do just care about the end result, and it's frustrating. But the more that you know, the more that you're informed, it's better for the long-term scheme of things. Okay, so number one reason why do GLP-1s work? Without a doubt, they lower your appetite. They make you consume less food. If you're not walking around wanting to eat everything in sight and you're not constantly hungry and you can look at food and not feel like you just want to devour it, you're probably naturally going to lower or reduce your food consumption. Guys, people want to say calories in, calories out doesn't exist. This is the number one mechanism ultimately of why they work. People are consuming less food. If you've been on a GLP-1 before, you know that. It reduces your appetite. First of all, it's already a natural occurring, found hormone in the body. We were talking about before we started recording this, naturally it only works for a specific small duration
Brief period of time.
Brief period of time. And I know a lot of this ties into hunger hormones specifically. There's ghrelin, there's leptin, and those signalings of hormones and communicating with the brain tell us whether or not we're full or we're hungry. If someone is trying to drop weight, drop body fat, I would want leptin, which is our satiating hormone. I would want that high all the time. In ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, I don't want to feel that. I want it that
Never
low.
feel hunger.
Because then if you're walking around not hungry, good. That makes it super easy for a weight loss, fat loss situation. So these medications, peptides, GLP-1s, they amplify fullness signals. Your brain is basically getting stronger I'm full messages. And again, people are going to naturally eat less. A lot of this ties to signaling within the brain, even your reward system, dopamine, all of that stuff. You're less interested in food is a big thing that I've gotten from a lot of people. And again, the two big things is satiety. You're walking around fuller. You're not going to be hungry all the time. And the connection that this makes to your everyday life, if you're someone that is always battling constant cravings, you're an emotional eater, okay, whether you're sad, whatever it might be, you're someone that's always hungry, thinking about food constantly, food noise, these medications help quiet some of that down. A lot of people can sometimes be battling some hormonal biology of just your desires there, but it's just not happening as far as from a deeper level. So reason number 2, why do these work?
Slower digestion and blood sugar stability. That's a big one. We were talking about the half-life briefly for a minute there. Mm-hmm. Naturally occurring GLP-1. It does naturally occur in our bodies. Everybody has it. When you eat, it is secreted from our intestines. The half-life is 1 to 2 minutes. So it's quick. It goes to the brain.
So the natural, just what we're already producing is 1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2 minutes. So it's there, and it is going to tell you after you eat, because it's signaled by eating, that it's there and you are going to feel full and feel these things. But I think the important thing is understanding the half-life of a manufactured GLP-1 is 5 to 7 days. So it's constantly there. Mm-hmm. It's not quick here and gone. It's going to continue to surround and circulate in our bloodstream, make its way to the thalamus, the part of the brain where this is triggering, telling us that we're full and secreting other enzymes and really signaling this cascade to take place. But 5 to 7 days for a half-life, which is how much time it takes for that specific molecule to reduce to half of what was secreted or, in this case, injected. So you have this feeling all the time. You constantly have this feeling of fullness, that satiety that you were talking about. And so if you're injecting it versus naturally, we obviously are going to feel this all the time. So then what we're going to talk about later is how to mimic that and get it to actually happen day to day. But on the topic of slower digestion and blood sugar stability, by slowing digestion, food stays in the stomach longer. That makes you feel full longer, and then also is going to lead you to eating smaller portions. If you're already feeling full, the last thing we're going to do is continue to hammer food down our throats. Makes
Yeah.
no sense. Why are we going to continue to eat if we're already feeling full? I think about like Thanksgiving dinner or lunch, whatever
Yeah.
you have, and you sit there and you're like hammering all the good food, and you get to that point where you're like, I can't eat another bite. Well, if it's already happening in the body where we have this GLP-1 in our body and we feel like
Yeah.
we're at that last bite all the time, well, then we're naturally going to consume less.
Right.
If the 10th bite makes it feel like that instead of the 100th, then we're going to feel that.
Like if someone's ever had like a lap band or gastric bypass, like their stomach, they get it's kind of the same mechanism there. If that's relatable for someone, their stomach is smaller, so in theory, they're getting full very quick,
Right.
and they're feeling full for a long time. So very similarly, it works that way. A lot of people don't. They just think the appetite thing lowers your appetite, It does that plus. It's if digestion is slowing, naturally you're not going to be able to consume as there's a back end waiting time of digestion. This is here, now it goes here. So
Subsequently, we lower grazing time. If you're already full, you're probably not grabbing that bag of chips or that dessert, whatever it is, after your meal. You're not eating as much between meals because you're already full, so less snacking. And then if you're full longer or a longer period of time, you're probably going to be easily motivated to eat only 2 or 3 meals or eat that one meal a day.
yeah,
And then less mindless eating. So you're just doing something around the house, watching TV. It's always easy at night to like grab that snack and eat that bag of popcorn or that sweet treat, whatever it is. If you don't even have that signaling and you don't have that craving, naturally I'm not going to want to go to the pantry and search around for what I can fill my mouth with. So
yep,
being a little bit more intentional with food. A lot of people will say this is like using a slow burning fuel instead of kindling. So something that's going to really burn for a long time. We're actually using the nutrients that's coming through instead of just like shoving everything into the burner and letting it go up in flames.
yep,
The next topic, this is a big one specifically for diabetics. That's why GLP-1s were originally made. Now it's in the open market more so easily prescribed to people that are overweight or somebody that's looking to lose weight. Blood sugar stability is huge. So this is going to help manage blood sugar spikes and crashes. So keeping you more at a stable level and control that. That's
yeah,
being diabetic as a whole. Anybody that's got a fasting blood glucose of greater than 110 or an A1C of 5.7 or above, we're talking to you. But it does that for everybody. Whether you're diabetic or not, if you're on a GLP-1, you're naturally going to have less blood sugar
yeah.
levels in your body.
And a lot of this is connected with one another too. So it's like if your blood sugar is not constantly going up and down, you're not feeling that roller coaster of I'm hungry, I'm starving right now. Oh, now I'm not. Now I'm full, and then like combined with the slower digestion. So it's an insulin too. It's going to improve your insulin response as well. So you're going to be. It's going to be easier to go into a state of ketosis, fat burning, using fat as a fuel source, if you're not having these constant aggressive jumps.
Yeah. The big thing too for me is like stabilizing your energy. For me, after I eat lunch, every day, if I eat lunch and it's too big, I feel very satisfied. But an hour and a half later, I feel like I have no energy. Just absolutely crash.
Yeah.
So if we're eating less and we're not spending so much energy on digestion itself, we're not going to have that huge crash, especially as insulin and sugars are dissolved or actually used and taken up in the body.
Yeah.
So that's a big one as well. So stabilizes everything. None of those afternoon crashes. And I think that's a big point there.
Yep. So another reason. Why are they effective? Why do they work? 2 points here. And we touched on it briefly. Reducing food noise plus the momentum effect. So real quick, food noise here. A lot of people say when they're on these, my brain finally got quiet. I'm not constantly thinking about foods or food all the time. Less impulsive eating. And a lot of that, I heard something the other day that's interesting. It makes sense. is these medications, they interact with your reward system, specifically dopamine and the pathways involved with that. So we are always seeking, reward like related behaviors. So an easy way to explain this is like you eat something that's very good and you're like, oh, it's sending this, oh, this is good.
I want
this is
more.
great. It's like almost drug-like. Eating things is one form of that can very easily be just as damaging as drugs or alcohol or porn, like all of these different vices, gambling, all of these things. It's all tied to that reward center, that dopamine kick, like, it feels good, right? So it quiets down that. So in other ways, you're not looking at that thing, in this case food, as like it's not as powerful. Like you're not going to get that same kick. I heard something the other day, and it makes sense. This is being proven in a way, is that I heard it. The guy just basically went out and said it. He goes, some of these depending on your dosage, can make you love less. I'm like, he literally meant like love people less. And it kind of makes sense if you're specifically talking about your reward system, dopamine. Like, you think about when you fall in love, you're kind of on a high, and it feels good to be by that person, and like you're kind of these ups and downs, and like it's intense. I've heard reports or provings that it could quiet that. So in a way, it doesn't mean that you're like you don't love anymore. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that the way that it works with your brain of being super aggressive and I guess compulsive. Some people have done compulsive, stupid things when they are in love, right? They're just they're not using their brain correctly. So it makes sense that those two things would be actually tied together. So a big reason that food noise, you may not be as influenced by the donuts sitting on this table at a meeting or in the workplace or whatever. It just doesn't do it for you anymore.
Influencing another point of your life based on like trying to control hunger is crazy. What some of this can do to our bodies and just changes the normal like brain physiology is intense. A lot of the studies that you read and I read, I'm sure, revolve mostly around what the GLP-1 does at the baseline and the molecular level, and not so much to what it does in the community, to our partners, to our families, how we act and behaviors. It's more or less, okay, we're studying this GLP-1 and we're looking for weight loss, and that's the only thing that we're really looking at, and not everything else that comes with it. Is it better? Is it worse? There's so much more that's going to continue to be studied as we inject these into normal human beings, and not just people that are diabetic controlling A1C, and actually studying the long-term effect of brain signaling and, like you said, the reward system.
The brain's freaking wild. I've told people, many people that we've worked with, I said, just disclosing fully, like, our coaching system is 100% natural. That's not what this is about, but we go the natural route. But one thing I'm tying back into the brain is that I love seeing the client and the person we've worked with, that I call it locking in. And I the way that I explain it to them, I'm like, once you fully have made up your mind in your brain and you are locked in saying, hey, I am doing this, this is going to work out for me, I'm going to do the damn things, and I'm going to get what I want out of this. Committed, locked in. What happens for them? Naturally, food noise drops. Their appetite it lowers. It lowers because it knows what you're programmed. You know the goal is weight loss, fat loss, and we need our brain to respond and mimic that goal in the sense of give it what it needs. And we need to lower appetite. People, they're walking around, their appetite's less, and they're less worried about the food in a very similar way, just by I've made the decision in my brain
on that point, I think it's so crazy that people try to like lock in, and on the terms of weight loss, if you're locked in and you're like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, or I'm going to lock in for this 8-week program or 75 hard, we're locking in for like this such big period of time to where if we fail one day, the whole thing restarts. If we could just get most people to lock in on the next meal, on the next piece of activity, on the next day or on a week, and if you could just commit to yourself for 7 days or 10 days and allow some time to actually see changes, I think that's where we're going to go to our next topic of building momentum.
Yeah.
Then we can carry on. But lock in or be committed to the next 7 days or 10 days and not 2 months from now or 6 months from now. Lock in today and start to get those things moving in the right way. Those wins stacking like we do in our community. Get those wins stacking, and that's what's going to build the momentum.
Yeah. Momentum effect is huge, and people they don't get it, but it's in a very simple way. You get a taste of success. You start seeing a little bit of results, even week 1. That feels good. You want more of that. So it makes it easier to adhere to the process and not fall off, because of the results that you're getting feel better than the temporary relief you may get from whatever vice it is. And in this case, it's probably food that we're talking about, but it could be many other. It could be food, drugs, alcohol, like all things combined at once. But you got victory. You want to keep that record going good, and that is a very powerful thing. So once you take, like in any success, business venture or whatever, it's super important to roll with that momentum and keep going. We have a saying in our group that one of our guys brought up: it's foot on the gas, all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes.
Keep the momentum alive. Again, that actually ties in favorably to that dopamine motivation loop, because of the fact that you like what you're getting. It feels good, so it just makes it a no-brainer to continue on. You're going to make better decisions. Then you're going to start layering in other things. Hopefully more movement. Sleep is going to affect all of those things. So kind of before we go into some of the downsides and trade-offs, there's a few other smaller levers of why these drugs work, but the main powerful ones relate to appetite regulation, slowing digestion, it being a more favorable situation as far as your blood sugar is concerned, which all of these things are connected. And then you're tasting victory for the first time, or maybe a long time. It's been a decade, and it just feels good and makes it easier to continue on with this. Okay, so we've kind of given you some of the positives of this.
Yeah, start on a high note.
Straight off, we're going to go in, and Drew's going to go into this, some of the downsides and, just trade-offs, not fear-based, but just giving you the facts that the data is there for several of these things if you don't intervene strategically. Let's get into it.
Before we jump in completely,
I
do want to say that we're not anti-GLP-1. We're not anti-GLP-1. So many of our clients are actually on GLP-1s and want to learn how to get off of the GLP-1 and still be successful, or how to delay GLP-1 use, or they've tried a GLP-1, found some success, and just didn't like the effect of it, whether that be some of these negative things that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
But we're not anti-GLP-1. We just want you to be aware of some of the downsides that are currently out there and reasons why you may then think about taking a more natural course of action.
Yeah.
But we do work with those people, not as many as our natural clients.
Yeah.
But
we've had
nothing against, and we would never pick somebody out for using a GL1 to start to see success. But at the end of the day, our goal is to be as natural as possible.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Well, this would be a good one for you to cover the first trade-off and highlight that. And people don't care enough about this, and it makes it extremely difficult when you come off of this,
especially early on. The first downside is muscle loss. We talk about this one all the time where not all the weight that you're losing is going to be adipose tissue, fat. So if you're losing weight and the only metric you're watching is the scale, then ultimately we're not really sure if we're losing only fat or if there's some lean tissue loss, bone mineral density loss at the same time. So that's big. So we use an in-body scanner here at the gym and push that with a lot of our clients. Knowing actually what your weight loss is and where it's coming from off of your body if you're going to be on a GLP-1 is super wise. That way you know, maybe I need to do something about this. But rapid weight loss can reduce muscle tissue, especially without resistance training and enough protein. So if we're not eating enough protein, amino acids aren't entering the body, and amino acids are the baseline for building muscle.
I've seen some figures, and you can look this up yourself, but be careful of your source. Is like, say someone drops 50 pounds on a GLP-1, almost up to half of that can be lean mass.
Yeah.
And when I say lean mass, I'm talking about muscle. I'm talking about bone density. Like your organs, like all of that getting smaller. There is a term called sarcopenic obesity, which basically you have both sarcopenia, which is the you're basically losing and reducing and dropping muscle mass, and obesity at the same time. There is a term, and this is called, and you'll know what this is. You may have seen or maybe have felt this yourself. The term is called skinny fat. You are both skinny, and you can maybe hide it with clothes. You look good in clothes. You're skinny, but then you have still levels of body, like just higher
no
body
muscle.
fat there. We've run some people in the InBody before where it's like, yeah, their muscle mass is well below average, and their body fat is above average high, but then their weight, and this is the really important part, their weight is within that like okay standard.
Good BMI.
But that's when you may take off your shirt, or you're in the shower, or you see yourself in the mirror and you just feel, well, skinny fat. Like you just feel like
Pudgy still.
Like you see, you're not happy. You're happy with the weight. You might be happy with your facial structure. It's skinnier, but you're like, you feel flat, you feel deflated, and you feel, that's where you might have like, well, now how do I get rid of this like loose skin? Like, all of that stuff that I know can be, funny to talk about, but it's unsightly, and it could be frustrating for someone. So I just wanted to bring that up, that term. I know we've heard that a lot.
Yeah, atrophy, like literally losing muscle, bone is huge. The other thing too, energy. We always talk about it. Like if you're going to spend more energy, you're probably going to consume more energy. But having less muscle ultimately means that you can consume less energy without gaining weight. Less muscle creates a problem because we have less energy going to our muscle to maintain it. It takes a ton of energy to maintain muscle. Very little, if not any, to maintain fat. Our organs and all of that does take quite a bit as well, but muscle takes a lot to maintain. That's why we have to train so much and do everything else to maintain it. If you're not going to use it, the body's going to quickly say, we don't need it.
Right.
We're not using it, so we're going to strip you from that. But if you have less muscle because you're losing it because of a GLP-1, that means that your natural burn is ultimately going to be less.
The machine, the method to burn through calories, you're losing the weight, you're finally feeling skinny. I'm skinny Tony for the first time, but you're actively burning through the system that you will need, that keeps your metabolism high, and that output, that burning, the ability to burn calories, you're taking that away.
And I think we're going to talk about this, but that ultimately creates a problem whenever you go to get off.
Correct.
You ultimately start gaining it way back because you just don't have that machine that's burning the fuel. Nothing's burning. So then you eat little still, and now you end up actually gaining weight back. But we'll move on from that. Muscle also doesn't improve insulin sensitivity. So that's a big note to take. What happens whenever we have less muscle? This one's not really, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. We feel weaker.
Yeah.
For small things, walking up a hill, going on a hike, walking in general, taking the stairs, things that once felt very natural. If we lose a lot of muscle, we just feel a little bit weaker and a little bit more challenged. Maybe we're a little bit more out of breath. Maybe it's a little bit harder. I've seen this with especially the geriatric population. Working as a physical therapist, I get to go through and see their medication list. And when they're on a GLP-1, I've actually seen an influx of people coming to see me for generalized debility. They lost the weight and you would think that their body would move easier, but because so much of it was muscle, now they're having a harder time getting around. And that atrophy, like the bone density that we were talking about, frailty goes way up. So frailty, the ability to actually get hurt by something small like a fall, which usually we can all fall. We fall starting out as little kids. We're always falling. And then we get to middle age and we're like, I should not fall anymore. Like I shouldn't fall. But if you do, that's how fractures and things happen. Osteoporosis, osteopenia, this is huge, especially for women who are postmenopausal because there's natural hormonal changes there. So we don't really need to add to that problem. We need to make our bones stronger. And again, we do that by having more muscle. And you already talked about worsening body composition overall. Sure, we're thin. The scale is moving in the right direction. But is the body composition really where we want? Did we lose the weight but still not have any roundness to our muscles, to our body? Are we still flabby in those areas we were flabby before and not quite seeing that toned athletic look we're looking for just because we lost some weight? Or what happened there? Feeling round and feeling full with muscle is completely different than just being thin and just lacking complete muscle structure on our endoskeleton. And that's huge. And again, those risks are going to increase.
So another thing. So the muscle, we could talk all day because this one's a very complex one as far as dropping muscle. Like, some people might be like, well, if you strength train alongside of GLP-1, is it better and can it help? Absolutely. It can help if you're signaling or sending that signal to say, hey, like, we're using this muscle mass on a regular basis. We need it. Let's not do that. But you're still not going to be, if calories or overall energy consumption is drastically reduced, even with you training, and if it's still way too aggressive, way too fast, you're absolutely still going to burn through muscle despite sending that signal to keep it. So it will delay it, we'll say it will delay the rate of it, but it's not going to completely fix it, just because if I'm training and I'm working out, but I'm not consuming anything really, then unless I have a lot of body weight to get off, then it could still be troublesome, and you could end up as a lesser skinny fat version, but still it could be an issue. But let's go into the other downside of this, and I've told people this many times, is the habits that go along with a process in changing key specific habits, behavioral habits about yourself is super important. It's super important in learning why you're hardwired the way that you are, why things are and exist in the way that they do. Sometimes a GLP-1 can just turn on and off a switch, and you've never actually learned the behavioral adaptive changes that you need to make to your lifestyle, your diet, just everything about you existing. You never did that. You never went through that process and that work. It didn't fix your routines. It maybe turned off emotional eating, but it still exists in there the moment you're off of this medication. Your environment, your food environment, where you're at, work, home, huge thing. Are you even moving more? So, like, I know we talked about weight, lifting weights and muscle mass thing, but your cardiovascular system, did it address food quality? Like, you're eating considerably less, but did you just have a bag of Doritos chips from the gas station? You just ate that, the small, small bag. You ate that, you're full, and that was your nutrition for the day. That's where it's like, I'm seeing these results. I'm being very aggressive, but like I didn't fix some of those big things there. So you're returning to old habits fast. You regain after you could stop the medication or lower it. So then you're frustrated, and then you're on this cycle where you could feel bound to this and like trapped to, I need to be doing this forever now.
We've actually heard this so many times inside of our community. Like somebody that's new and maybe got on a GLP-1 and has been on it for a week or two.
Yeah.
And they reach out and they say, hey, I'm doing this to get a jump start, but I know I have to change something about my habits and my environment and my food quality. I just want to get a jump start. But I still want to learn from you all how to be successful long term. I just want to build some momentum like we were talking about. So I'm going to try this GLP-1. It'll help me initiate success. And then when I start to see some success, I'll be a little bit more motivated to stay on it. But we hear this all the time. We want to get into side effects.
Yeah, let's go into side effects. The last kind of part with that is that, you know, oh, here we are. The last kind of like one liner I want to leave with the habits is that you need to build a life and create a life that supports those results, long term and short term.
Yeah.
Side effects. Sure. You want to go into some of those?
Yeah, I'll go into side effects. Nausea is a big one. So if we're nauseous, obviously not going to eat, but it can make you feel pretty crummy.
I've heard many people that have come to us and they've experimented. They got on one, and they couldn't do it just because of that. The sickness they would feel was just unbearable. It was annoying and more like I don't want to feel nauseous every time I eat.
Which would you rather have? I know you can answer this one. Would you rather feel nauseous or hungry? I'll tell you my answer first, and then you tell me what you think.
Okay.
I would much rather feel hungry than nauseous any day out of the week. Yeah. And I think most people will agree after I tell you this. If I'm hungry, based on what we were talking about earlier, food is everywhere.
Yeah.
In the matter of 10 minutes, I can change that hunger cue. Yeah. Or I can drink water. Like, water makes you feel relatively full for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
8 to 16 ounces of water, I'm good for 15 minutes. I know I can make it.
Yeah.
If I'm nauseous and I feel like I'm going to throw up, give me the brown paper bag and let me breathe into that thing, but I don't know why I'm nauseous. Am I going to throw up? Am I going to have diarrhea? What did I eat? Am I getting sick? Then you get accompanied with like the nervous sweats.
Yeah.
That's a miserable feeling.
And hunger, I can still do other things being hungry. Meaning I actually have a heightened sense of alertness. Like I can still actually like focus unless, blood sugar drops and like, you're sweating out in the sun. Like that's different. I'm talking about just normal everyday that. Yeah, rather experience that than like, it's kind of like a headache or being sick to your stomach. You can only focus on the thing that is, you're like, I have a headache. That's all I can think of. When I have a headache, I really can't focus on much else besides the fact that I have a headache. Same thing would be if my stomach's upset or nauseous. I really can't focus on anything else other than that.
It's funny that you say that you can focus better. Before like modern food, whenever we used to like hunt and gather, think about the time of like hunters and gatherers. I have read that hunters would go out and on their voyage to harvest a buffalo or an elk or a mule deer or a white-tailed deer or turkey, quail, whatever it is. They would go out hungry because then it would give them focus on what they were trying to collect and that food, and know that would only be fixed by actually harvesting an animal. So actually they would be more keen to their other senses because they're not digesting and they're not spending energy here. So their stable senses, vision, hearing, smell, all of their observation is actually heightened. I have some friends that like to not hammer a ton of food in the woods just because they want to feel like they're out there primitively. So that's a crazy one. But let's go into the second one. Because we have delayed gastric emptying, right? So things do slow down in the GI system, leads to constipation.
Yep.
That's a big one. There's some things we can do about that. We'll talk about constipation. Just general digestive discomfort. If your bowels are full of fecal matter all the time, and we have that constipation, we have some hardening, it can create some pains that can also lead into some low back pains and that type of thing. So referral of pain, that's a big one. The next one, obviously, if we're putting less energy in our body overall, repetitiously, day after day, week after week, fatigue. So when we do some of those like smaller activities, we don't have enough energy. We just feel tired all the time.
You literally don't have the gas. Like you don't have like, you know, go out and try to like, you know, go for a 2-mile walk in, you know, the 85-degree, you know, summer heat. Like that could put you down. Just feeling just because you don't literally have the fuel to that activity could demand.
This is like a side note. I've thought about this so many times. If somebody were to just like walk at a very stable pace, not briskly, like just something that you would go for a beach stroll in a quality environment, how long do you think somebody should be able to walk at that comfortable pace before they get tired?
I mean, all the time. Everyday person, like, or just
how long do you think somebody should be able to? Just as like a benchmark, like you should be able to go on a beach walk for this long.
I feel like saying you could walk for an hour is like if I needed to cross, if I can 3 miles and I needed to walk an hour, I feel like it should be acceptable to be able to do that.
I think that's a benchmark too. So if you couldn't walk for 1 hour in like comfortable climate, having a conversation at the park on the beach, and you were getting fatigued from that, that would be a problem.
I'd want to do something about it.
That would be a problem. So I guess my point back to this is if I had that much fatigue from a medication that I was taking and I couldn't go walk on the beach with Madeline and Josephine, my wife and daughter, I think I would have a problem with that. I would very quickly want to reverse that just as much.
Yeah.
But the big points here are slow digestion can lead to some other GI issues. And then appetite suppression can become excessive. There's too much of it.
There's repercussions in the back end. It's again not, if you're constantly suppressing it, there's gonna be side effects of that because your body wants to get out of that situation. Like that's not a normal thing to constantly walk around. Not like it's you need a balance. So your body tries to adapt, and sometimes it can be for the worse.
Let's get into what we teach every day inside of Recalibrate.
Yep,
the natural side of things.
So how can you recreate these mechanisms or reasons behind why these are so powerful, why they work naturally? So understand this. It is what we're going to outline here. It's combining not one of them. It's combining all of them. It's combining all of them in a way to where because they all work synergistically. These things we're going to outline. We may not tell you anything new, but it's gonna hit home based on the reasons that we talked about why they work and how you can do that naturally. There's gonna be some connections there.
Yeah. Before we jump in, if we give you all of this and you're like, I've tried that doesn't work, you might need coaching.
Yeah.
You might need support because we see this all the time of like, it's not always rocket science and some of these small habit changes. Maybe you're just not using what we're telling you correctly or not to the right amount. And that's where somebody that's done this thousands of times, us as coaches, can be huge in dialing you in and making sure that this is going to work for you.
Yeah.
But let's get into it.
So number one, the first lever I'm going to pull if I want to go the natural route, I'm going to look at what I'm consuming, what I'm putting in my mouth, and I want to make the conscious decision to get higher amounts of protein in my daily diet. And you're like, oh, no shit. Good, Josh. Thanks for telling me something I already know. Here's the deal. What you may not realize is that protein, out of protein, carbs, fats, protein is one of the strongest satiating macronutrients. Reason being, and this can tie to digestion, it takes a long time to break down. It pulls a lot of calories from your body to break down. It's actually very thermogenic. There's a term called the thermic effect of feeding or eating, however you want to word it. It's the same thing. up to 20 to 30% of the calories in a given high protein source, let's say 100 calories worth of chicken breast. That's a lean piece of meat. It takes a lot to break it down and digest it, up to 20 to 30% of those calories. So almost think in theory that your body's really only processing, let's say 70 to 80 of the full 100 calories of that 100 calorie example, because the rest is needed just to break that item down. So it's very energy demanding, and it's satiating. Not to mention, if I'm trying to drop body fat and I'm trying to drop weight, well, first off, if I'm trying to drop body weight, I want it to exclusively be 90% body fat. Protein is going to constantly keep that signal there of I need to keep this muscle. I need to keep it there. Not to mention the amino acid profiles and things of that nature that keep your muscle, skeletal system intact. You got to keep it there. So, we already talked about slow digestion, improved satiety. Because of that, you're going to have fewer cravings because you are walking around a little bit fuller. You're not walking through a miserable day wanting to look at everything and eat it. Fewer cravings. You're going to have better recovery, and your overall body composition is going to be better. So keep that there. Protein at the end of the day, it helps put the brakes on your appetite. You want to talk about fiber?
Yeah. Fiber is the second one. Whole foods regulate appetite better. So just like high protein sources, they do help slow digestion and improve fullness, improve digestion. And then it also slows the glucose absorption.
Huge one. So sugar.
Which is big.
It's going to slow your body absorbing sugar. So which is good for insulin. It's good for which is blood sugar.
Right.
It's going to be, it slows things down. So would you say that this can mimic, if you have a high fiber diet, it can mimic the gastric emptying effect of
absolutely
of a GLP-1?
That's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
It's supposed to help bind things and slow things down, so it's not like the saying shit like a goose, or somebody that's eating and going to the bathroom 5 minutes later. If you eat crap food, it's gonna fly through. It's not like I'm greased up. Yeah, you're greased up. There's no fiber.
Yeah.
There's nothing to slow that down. So that's where you end up with loose stool or diarrhea or whatever. All those bad poops.
Yeah.
Where it's just explosive and bad things are going. But if it slows things down, now our body can naturally pull the nutrients that we just ate and then fuel our body, fuel our heart, our lungs, our brain, our organs, and actually get that nutrients out there. So slowing that's a big one. But on the point of sugars and insulin, getting that to regulate at a very stable level is going to keep us from having those big ups and big downs where we typically crash.
People are they don't, because it's not a glamorous thing to talk about, protein, fiber, and it's not sexy enough to worry about. But I'm telling you that if that is kind of your main levers you're pulling for your nutrition game plan, protein's there, and I got fiber. Fiber's going to inadvertently force you to consume more whole foods. That's what it's going to do. But bucket one, protein. Bucket number two, fiber. Fiber's going to make you make better choices. Protein's going to those two things right then and there. As it relates to blood sugar, you're not going. Imagine being stable with your desire to consume food, or not consume food rather.
Yeah.
Imagine that being very predictable, we'll call it, versus constantly up and down by consuming just shit that's not the best for you. It goes in fast, out fast.
Right.
Eat a donut, quick zap of energy maybe for 15 minutes, and then
I want another. I need that spike again. I need another one.
Yeah.
What percentage of your meals do you feel like you make sure that you have a protein source and a fiber source?
I would say half. I would say half of my if something's going in my mouth, I would say half the time I like to have protein and fiber there. There's other times, especially in the beginning of the day, if I am fasting and am going to break my fast and it's around noon or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
I might be just okay with something strictly protein dominant, maybe a little bit of
Yeah.
depends on what I'm consuming, just because I'm good with that, and like it may be something quick on the go, a piece of meat, a beef stick or something like that.
Maybe I
So
should have said like a meal like dinner.
yeah,
Like dinner needs
yeah,
to
oh yeah,
have
yeah, yeah,
both
yes,
sources.
yeah, yeah, for
That way
sure.
you're full throughout the
Main meals,
night.
yeah. Snacks, maybe not so much all the time. I'm like I'll gravitate more towards like high protein snacks.
Me too. But there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
grabbing a high fiber source.
No, hell no.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, fiber, big one there. This is kind of a three-part one here, and we'll break this up. I know kind of notes say, but this needs to be broken up. I'll talk about this next one, Drew. You can talk about strength training, and we'll follow up with the other one together. Another way that you can naturally mimic the effects of a GLP-1 is paying attention to, or let it spark your interest in idea of fasting and what that means for you. And it can mean something different for everybody. Guys, fasting at the end of the day, not something to be scared of. If, a 12, 13 hour deal, that's called circadian rhythm fasting. Probably every human being on the planet needs to be doing that anyways, because it just makes sense. And it's not that hard, and it's not a big of a deal. And it really nips in the butt of those poor decisions a lot of us make anyways, with constantly never having a kitchen closed and a kitchen open time. Imagine going from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day. Does that sound difficult? You had your dinner, maybe a little snack. Kitchen is closed at 7 p.m. Great. You could have breakfast at 8 a.m. if you wanted to. You just completed a 13-hour circadian rhythm fast.
Got it done.
And what you did there, you knocked out the behavioral habit of constantly want to eat like a slob on the couch at 8 p.m. watching Netflix. You're giving your body a break to actually digest and absorb the food that you've consumed. You're probably going to get better sleep, and you're on this natural circadian rhythm of when the body needs fuel and doesn't need fuel. You're going to have a longer course of time where you're digesting and then AKA burning a little bit of body fat, hopefully. Anybody should be doing it. That's the easy entryway point there. There's so many benefits of going a little bit longer, let's say 16 hours. You can go 20 hours, and once I think anybody could do 16 hours without any support of like,
Pretty
okay,
easily.
how do I go about this? Once you get to the 24 hour mark, that's a whole different topic. You may never even need to go there, but the main thing that I like about, let's say, like a 13 to an 18 hour window, you're not constantly like worried about when am I going to eat, like, and like it's a food noise. It's a food noise of like, I'm going to put my foot down and focus on work. And I'm not worried about like just everything that's in my way right now. Because of that, as it relates, as far as biology is concerned, you're going to have the fewer insulin spikes. You're going to be in let's say you decided to wait till noon, for example. You're basically already in a state in the morning where cortisol might be high a little bit to wake you up, but then it's going to drop, and you're going to be like in a pretty good optimal like state where your body is saying, hey, like I want to utilize these love handles, this back of my arm fat, underneath my chin. I know we're being funny here.
All the not
I
sexy
want to use
spots.
that for fuel. Who wouldn't want to use that for fuel? That relates because of the fact of your body's going to be in a state of ketosis or enter there faster. You're going to have better metabolic flexibility, okay? Better nutrient absorption. I think we become more efficient at absorbing nutrients because our body has this on-off switch of like, okay, we're not consuming food. Okay, let's go through these fun processes of healing the body. Ketosis, maybe a little bit of autophagy happening. Okay, we're eating now. Let's absorb those nutrients. So you're going to not graze as much. I know I just talked about it. You're not going to be like, if you're steadfast with this, you're going to be like, okay, no, I'm not eating the brought in garbage of donuts that was just brought in.
No, I need good food.
Like I'm good. I'm just not gonna eat that. Okay. Better meal awareness. So you're actually going to focus on things that are like good because of the fact that like, hey, let's say you did lunch and dinner. like you're going to focus on actually putting better things in your body because you are actually going to be consuming something. Big one, you're less obsessed with food. It just changes your dynamic of how you look at food. We should look at food in a healthy way of as just pure substance, keeping us there, but then still enjoyment. Sometimes we do it like it's only enjoyment, and like that's the only reason we look at food, and it needs a balance of both.
Isn't it crazy how some people consume like a nasty treat, whether it's like Flamin' Hot Cheetos or a candy bar, or they just need that thing, but it's not actually tied to a hunger cue. It's tied to like the time of day. Mm-hmm. I'm on my way to work. Every day on my way to work, I eat this. Like we just become so habitual with, I eat this. I think about All Gas No Breaks, Jeff Miller laying out all the food that he used to eat on his tailgate. Yeah. And there was a soda there, and there's the donuts there, and there's like, I don't know, taquito there, or some maybe a hot dog or something. And it's just like, just because we got used to eating that, or just that one little snack, that little snacky that we need at that time. But if we went without it, we don't even realize it.
No, we don't.
It's just tied to something outside of like a general hunger cue saying, I think I'm right. I need to eat something.
Right.
It's time to eat. I need fuel.
Right.
It's crazy.
Okay, so we could talk all day about this, but we want to get into the next way. How can you mimic? Remember, we're staying on topic. How can you mimic this naturally? So we just talked about protein being there. Boom, knock it off. Experience or not experience, maybe experiment. If you don't know how, send us a message. I'll help you out and get started of how to implement this. Pay attention to what fasting can do for your body, both physically and mentally. Third thing, big point here is strength training.
Strength training. I got it off somewhere. Oh, here it is. Big thing, preserves, builds muscle, protects metabolism during fat loss. So if you're building your muscle and you have amino acids based on the protein that we're consuming, our body is naturally going to go to other sources first rather than breaking down muscle for energy. It's naturally the last one to go. Our body wants to break down fat. In the absence of fat over an extended period of time, we could see muscle loss. But if you're using your muscle, your body's going to say, hey, we need to keep that. Let's go ahead and look for another source. Well, I don't know, maybe somebody here could share an experience where they actually use their body fat for something productive. I'm guessing not. So the body is going to naturally want to preserve that muscle through resistance training and during that ketosis period where our body is burning fat. It's going to choose a easier, more viable source to go after versus muscle, which, again, like we talked about so many times, it's going to preserving lean tissue is going to help with insulin sensitivity, glucose uptake. Muscle is expensive tissue. Your body listens when you use it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big one.
The fourth layer you would want to add in is being intentional with movement, specifically walking. Walking is massively underrated. It's a sustainable means of exercise. If you are strength training and you are getting, on average, 20% more steps moving forward in the future than you are today. If you're stagnant and you're in a stagnant position right now and you're listening to some of these things, add in 20% on a daily basis of your step count. Going to be very, very productive for you. And here's why. So first off, again, ties to blood sugar, digestion as well. It helps regulate and gets those things to an optimal point. It's very low stress in the body. Anybody can get up and go for a 30-minute walk, 20-minute walk, easy. Or you should be able to. Most people listening to this, I'll say, there's some people that obviously have some issues going on where that could be a chore. Not what I'm talking about. But it's easy to do and it's low stress in the body. Because of that, there's not this big intense appetite response where you just ran 10 miles or you killed yourself in the cardio hamster wheel over there and you're trying to sweat as much and manually burn as much calories as possible. Walking, an easy, zone 1, maybe getting in a little bit of zone 2 form of cardio, not appetite jump, so that makes it easier to keep that at bay. The body is going to prefer to utilize fat as the fuel source there. It doesn't need all this muscle glycogen to pull from that, maybe a little bit. But the fuel systems that we're using is different. It's going to be more reliant on body fat. Not to mention easier recovery. You can do it anytime. You can kill 2 birds, 1 stone. After this training here, I'm going to be going on a walk and knocking out some correspondence. Like, you could do many things with it. So walking, if you are not walking more, and I'm not talking about just doing this 1 week or 1 day, walk for the next 8 weeks more. Do that in predictably 20% more than you already are right now. Guarantee it, there's going to be a difference. 100% in your body composition and what you're looking at, combined with some of these other levers here.
Those are easy calories to burn.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to you don't have to have running shoes for it. You can walk in anything.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I always think about when we hammer a hard workout or a run, there's part of our brain that whenever we see that treat, that little snack or whatever it is, that pre-dinner snack, because we just can't wait for dinner, or whatever it may be, we think that we earned it and it's okay.
Yeah.
So we allow ourselves, like, oh, I deserve that. I did something hard. We never go for a walk and are like, we need that reward of something because we did so much that we spent so much energy that we're hungry. We deserve something because it was really, really hard. It's really easy. You can go walk in the middle of your day, start your day, end your day, and your body's not like starving for that extra fuel that we were talking about.
Right. This is the other big thing that I'm going to ask you a question. The other big thing that how you can mimic a GLP-1, would you say that controlling, if you're going to do this naturally, would you say that controlling your environment, the surroundings around you, is a big factor or small factor?
I think it's massive.
Yeah.
What we surround ourselves by is what we're allowing ourselves to engage with. If you put yourself in a room full of bad people, most likely you'll be a bad person.
Yeah.
What's the saying that like you as a person are most like your 5
I just heard
closest friends?
It said, show me your friend, show me your future. I heard that the other day.
Like you're a blend of your 5 closest friends. Well, it's the same thing. Your body is going to look like your environment. Fill it full of crap, bad foods, just like no routine.
So many people are setting themselves. I always say this: a smoker trying to quit smoking doesn't walk around with a pack of cigarettes in their back pocket.
Right.
Like that sounds asinine. That sounds so silly listening to that, but so many people are doing that in terms of I want to drop body fat, I want to drop weight. And they struggle with Oreos, they struggle with Doritos, they struggle with having 3 bowls of cereal and overconsumption. Yet the Doritos, the Oreos, the box of cereal,
they're
still in their pantry, still in their fridge. Those things are there, and it's like, why? You want to hear all the time? Oh, my kids eat them. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're not, if you're consuming, if you shouldn't be consuming them, your kids shouldn't be consuming them. Okay? Like, again, not talking about being a psychopath. Like, we should indulge in things that should be treats. I'm not saying to never buy a box of Pop-Tarts or whatever. What I'm getting at is they shouldn't be regular things around the house, especially if you're trying to make changes.
I want to give a pro tip. I have been doing this. My wife and I have been doing this based on where I work as a PT has changed, and I'm not close to a grocery store now. So we've been forced, because she's trying to get home, see the baby, do the whole thing. Not forced. This is a luxury of 21st century. We have been doing grocery pickup for like the last 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And because we'll do it at night after we've already had dinner, we're getting set. And every time she's like, what do we need? If we do that in the afternoon after work, how many things enter that cart that are like, I want that. Yeah. Oh, this looks good. Yeah. Oh, this looks good.
It's a good idea.
When we're shopping online, it's like, what do we need? And then we just naturally stick to Whole Foods, the staples, and don't go into the store and like smell something.
Yeah.
A lot of the stores anymore, there's like ready to go food. You could buy dinner. You could get dinner pre-made, not frozen meals, just
Yeah.
like pre-made, already cooked meals in the store. You could probably do that for a whole month and never actually buy a grocery that you needed to cook or prepare. But it leads us into that. Now, the downside is sometimes you're looking for that snack and you're like, man, we have no snacks in this house.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it makes us eat something better anyway.
Yeah.
And so we made the choice for the week before we ever even got into the week.
That's
We
funny
already
you say
know
that.
what's there.
We walk in.
And we can't change.
Yeah, we'll open up and like there's no snacks in there, and what we really mean is there's no just things I want to fill those sweet voids or salt voids or whatever it might. Good, probably shouldn't be there.
Don't eat
because
it.
I'm opening it just because I can and it's there. Again, it ties back to environment. I'm not hungry. Like I'm
No.
not necessarily hungry in that situation. You're just like wanting it because it's there.
I think we've talked about this before. Do you like the saying or like the thought of like, if you're not hungry for an apple, then you're
Yeah.
not actually hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you
Yeah.
went into that pantry and the only thing that was
Yeah.
in there was an apple,
Yeah.
if you wouldn't grab that apple, if you weren't hungry for an apple, well, then you're not really hungry.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time whenever I go in. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's no snacks in here. Well,
Yeah.
there is an apple. And guess what? That doesn't sound
Yeah.
that appetizing. I'm not actually hungry. Close the pantry.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Suck it up.
Get your butt down
Yeah.
for a walk or do something else.
So a lot of this, wrapping up environment, you think you just need more discipline. You just don't, you're not cut out to like avoid certain things. Imagine this. Is it going to be, you need to get from point A to point B. Okay. And all you have to do is walk across this field. Is it going to be easier to just walk from point A to point B across the field with nothing there? You just got to simply move in that direction. Or would it be harder where you're going to have to like avoid landmines? You're going to have to avoid pits and potholes and things like that. All these things that could slow you down or put you out. Easier to just walk across an empty field. So this boils down to your environment. You don't need all these different landmines that are good in the moment, but they blow you up. They blow you up and they set you up to not be successful in the long term. So kind of wrapping this up here. So we talked about some of these mechanisms of how you can mimic these responses naturally. The big thing I want you to understand is that I guarantee it, if you implement these things that we just talked about and give it a real shot for a consistent 8 weeks, even inside of the first 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see a difference. Consistency is like the last probably big, massive lever you can pull, and people hate that word because it requires them to like sacrifice. I'd rather be consistently good than occasionally great. Consistency has flexibility to not be perfect, to still have some of these hyper palatable fun things in drinks and nights out and things of that nature. But I have another thing here. I want to get good at scoring a beat. We say that all the time.
All the time.
Score a beat and do that your whole life. You are going to run around circles around the person that's always up and down, either completely on it or off of it. That is the last thing that you can tie together. GLP-1s, they have their advantages. They have their disadvantages. Hopefully we covered. There's many other things we can go add to this, but we won't for the sake of time. If you're curious about these or how to implement them, or a natural route, send us a message. Absolutely. Before we talk about just the personalized roadmap, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Man, I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of topics. I'm excited about this roadmap, though.
Yeah.
And I think if you've made it this far, hopefully you did. You would only know that if you would only hear this right now if you've made it this far. If you've made it this far, listen up. We want to thank you for joining in. If there's other topics you'd like us as coaches just to break down, definitely drop that. Let us know. We're open to breaking down some more things. But Josh, take it away with the roadmap.
So first off, if you have found this helpful too, please share it with someone that you know that maybe you've had a conversation with about this, or you just think that someone would benefit from this training. Please send it to them. let them be aware of it. So here's what we're going to give for you guys. So providing a free, personalized fat loss, weight loss roadmap for you. It's going to work very simply. I'm going to leave a link within this event here. It's going to take maybe 5 to 10 minutes. What I want you to do is I want you to answer those questions honestly, deliberately. It's going to talk about some struggles, your specific habits, goals, roadblocks, those things. The more that you are super truthful and intentional about, we're going to send you. We're going to take those answers and we're going to send you a detailed roadmap showing you biggest opportunities that you're leaving on the table for progress, simple, practical next steps, and what to focus on first. That's a big thing here. People think like they worry about too many things at once and it becomes overwhelming.
Pull the big
So we're going
lever.
to simplify that. Sometimes people like to be told what to do instead of given too many options. So this is going to be a no-brainer for you. At the end of the day, this is not, we want to provide value for you. This is not about getting you on, with Recalibrate or signing up for a gym membership or anything like that. We want this to be helpful, valuable information that you can use. So by all means, please fill out that roadmap so we can get you that valuable piece and tool to you. So
Awesome.
All right, we will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to share, like this. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for tuning in.